Oh, thank you so much. So sorry about that. I was muted this whole time, and man, I killed that intro if I wasn't on mute. But good to see you here. We're creating expressive characters, and thanks so much for joining me. So, again, like I was saying, good design, of course, tells a story. Great design is unforgettable, and that's what we want to do. We want to create some unforgettable, quirky characters. That is the goal, and that's what you'll see on my screen here in a second. You'll get an idea for all of these various assets that we're going to work with. Okay, so let me just switch over really fast. As you can see right here, I hate it when that happens, Lindsay. Oh, I hate it when I'm on mute. Anytime I restart, it automatically mutes me. So that's what happens. But you can see right in here, we have, of course, the challenge tab that you might see on Behance and elsewhere. Just go to behance.net/Adobe Live and get these assets right here, by the way, because I've given you a bunch of eyes and noses and mouths, just something to get us started. So speaking of get started, let's click that get started button and you can see those assets right here, and I actually have them open like so. Cool. Do over. Hello, Rachel from Iowa City. Expressive silent movie characters. Very, you're so clever, Stephen Booth. You're so clever. I love it. So here's what we have. We're going to be modifying shapes using different tools and distorting them. So obviously using distort tools, but you have all these various assets that I thought I'd just like kind of give you as a place to start. Okay, so we'll just build these characters faster. Welcome, Noor. Good to have you here. And I was rocking out earlier, so let me just put these little AirPods away. Wade's in the house as well. Feel free to say hello wherever this stream might find you. And let's get this party started. So we need to make bodies, okay? We can see over here, we have all of the expressions or facial features on this layer. We have this layer that's locked down, and I can add some body parts. So I would typically just add that on a new layer. Anytime there's like an entirely like new subject, whether it's a background, foreground, whatever, we can have the bodies. And we'll end up sort of grouping things together and moving them around. It's fine. But for these bodies, let's go ahead and create some bodies for these. We could do it right here if we want to. Okay, maybe I will. It's 82. Carol, where you are. Oh, you're killing me. All right, so we'll turn off that expressions because we'll use that in a second. And let's get this people party started. I typically like to open up my colors and pick a fun color. Obviously, it's going to be hot pink because I don't know why I always do hot pink. Istanbul's in the house. Oh, I love Istanbul. I've been there a couple times, but never for like long enough. Like there's some temples and stuff that I did not make it to, so hopefully I'll get to sometime. So here's this face, and again, I can kind of steal some eyes or whatever, but I'm just gonna make a body. So I think I'm just gonna like round the corners, and we could do some different expressions. So we'll do one. We'll do a second set right here. And you can do this a number of ways. Sometimes I like working outside of my artboard. So what you can do there is just hide artboards. So I get used to selecting Shift Command H. Boom. Now we just have nothing but white. Now I can actually work kind of off to the side. So that's honestly what I like to do is like get rid of the artboard, work over here, right? Don't have any restrictions. You know, grab these eyes, bring them down here, and then start playing with these fun expressions that we can work with. Okay, taking a set over here, like so. Let's make them cute, shall we? Pink is popping. That's right. And chances are I will change the color a couple times. So we can kind of take a look at different characters and the styles that we have within them, and really I just kind of want to make some cute characters. So that's the goal, right? We don't want to be so straightforward as to say here's an eye and here's an eye, okay? That's not like unique enough for my purposes, just so you know. So what I'd want to do is I'd actually want to take these, maybe I push them closer together so they're really close, right? We're going to go ahead and make these as expressive and unique as possible. So we have these closer together. We'll go to this version and we'll push them apart, right? And since I'm creating these expressive characters, like these might even be even smaller, so let's shrink them down. I can think about the components of a face, and in my opinion, right, and I don't even know if like other people talk about this, like to recognize it as a face, it needs to be a shape, typically with the eyes. So that would be the next minimum system requirement for a face is eyes, either 1 or 2, okay? And then the next level up is the mouth. The nose is often optional. So anyways, let's jump over here. Let's grab a fun mouth. We can grab this one right here, copying it. Heck, let's just drag it over. Zoop. There we are. For this one, we'll put like right down here. For this one, we're gonna put like in between because I think that would be fun. All right. Okay, so Emma and Michelle and Viola and everyone, we want to be mindful of how these lines are being scaled. Notice as I scaled it up, it's scaled up the stroke width, which I don't want. I always want these strokes to be the same thickness. Especially if you're mixing and matching body parts, we want to make sure we have stroke consistency. So we'll go to Illustrator, Preferences, General, and we will go ahead and uncheck Scale, Strokes, and Effects. Click OK. All right. Right, so now I can kind of scale these down and keep that line the same thickness. Bop, bop. It's like it is like a digital Mr. Potato Head. Oh, I love that. That's exactly right, Emma. That's perfect. Right, so here's one character, here's another, right? We can start adding other cute components to this character as we just start playing with this, sort of scaling up larger. Does this one have a fun big mouth? And this one obviously has a mouth in the middle. And as I make elements smaller, if you make the eyes bigger and the other features smaller, it starts to look more cute. Because children tend to have what looks like bigger eyes, right, than adults. So again, I'm playing with these different sizes, and then we'll get into some more of this. Let's make these even smaller. We're taking these characteristics and we're pushing them sort of as far as they can go. Let's add some arms and legs, right? We could play with this. There's so much I want to do. I'm gonna go ham on this, as the kids say. Okay, let's give them some body parts, right? We're just gonna use simple tools like the rectangle, right? So we'll jump in here, draw out, curve it like so, hit I, click. We've sampled that color, right? Let's even take this one, let's maybe make it round, right? And let's just add some cute little arms. Why not, huh? I'm gonna show you a cool new feature shortly. Okay, so I'm adding these little stubby arms. Okay, I have these little stubby arms, and I want to make the stubby legs. Yeah, kids don't really have big eyes, but their heads are so little. It looks like they have big eyes. So anyway, think Disney characters. Okay, so I'm going to take this. I now want to make the legs. I'm going to drag this over. It's like, oh, I got to kind of like refine this and get this into place. It doesn't snap even when you hold down the Shift key. Does this happen to you guys? I'm holding down the Shift key and you're like, I just want this to be flush straight up and down. And it's not snapping into place when I hold down the Shift key. So what we need to do there, go over to your, Properties panel. Right up here. And this is new. Right? We can, let's get those stubbies in there. Just zero this out. So hey, that angle, just hit 0. When we do that, bam, it's straight up and down. Okay? Here's something that's gonna I swear, it's one of those things that you feel like it's gonna save your life at some point. I'm just gonna point this out to you. You're gonna decide when you can use it. But let's say, for instance, I don't want this to be at an angle. I want this to always be how can I make, even though this is at an angle, how can I make it 0 in here? Well, you could reset the bounding box, right? So I'll go to, oh, why does it? I have it rotated. I might have to do that in a second. Let's just group this. Okay, here we go. This is what I want to point out. Sometimes your bounding box might be get off. You just reset bounding box. If I click right there, it's not quite working with this one. I'll have to work out a different example. Since it's more of a basic shape, it's reset bounding box will actually set it. So regardless of what your shape is, it will give you it in a bounding box that is exactly at a right angle. So that's all. Let's turn this into a tomato, shall we? Because it's starting to look like tomato. Or like bacon. Yeah, we can make both of those. But let's make this red. Bam, there we are. This one. This one could be our bacon strip, so that sounds like a great idea. Okay, we'll make 2 different items. One will be bacon. The other one will be a tomato. Okay, what's going to make this look like a tomato? Probably a leaf. How could we create a nice leaf as like a hat on the top? So go in here, throw in some green. That's really an electric green. Let's take that down a little bit. But right in here, we can grab both corners, bam, bam, bring them in like so. So that's how I would create the leaf. Right, and now it can be sort of the hat. Another thing we need right in here is the highlight. Okay. Ooh, a grape. Grape. That'd be so grape if we made a grape. It'd be so grape. Love it. Rotate this, shrink it down. Now we have like 2 little leaves. We need that highlight right here. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and select N. And I'm just going to sort of draw out, actually let's just kind of draw out like so. Let's get a lovely white line in here. In fact, I'm going to use the pen tool. I think that's going to be easiest. Right, pen tool, click, click, draw out this curve like so. Doesn't look like much, right? We need to add that highlight. I'm gonna do this based on the stroke, so I'll take this up to say 12, and then we'll round the corners. And also, we could actually turn this into a even a circle. So this kind of works. I think it actually needs to be a little bit more of a highlight. So let's just bring that down there to the front, and let's get into some new features, shall we? I'm not crazy about this little highlight right here. Can we agree that doesn't work? Can we agree I was just like making this more complex than it needed to be? Right? It just needs to be a circle. Sorry about that, everyone. There it is. There we go. That's all we needed to do. There's our little tomato. Okay. All right. You eat grapes, you drink grapes. There we go. For this one, we're gonna turn this one into bacon. So it's all about kind of taking inanimate objects and making them look like people. So we could do this with food, fruit, vegetables, that sort of thing. We could also do this with animals. So we could easily turn this one into a bunny. It would be like super easy to do. Maybe we'll get to that. But let's just go ahead and make a lovely slice of bacon. I don't know why it's food related today, but don't we all love food? Okay. Okay, let's take this. This looks good so far. Make it a little bit taller. Change the color. Add a little bit more to this in a second. I want to add the strip down the middle, right? So we'll just add really fast A lovely little strip. And then we'll get into distorting, right? So what does bacon look like? Well, typically, I would say kind of like that. Let's take a look. Let's go out here. Let's just type up bacon. Do our hardcore research. Right? Because again, I'm kind of doing this live, so this is kind of what bacon looks like. It looks like this guy. This is kind of what we're making. We're making bacon, just like that. Right? So it's going to be curvy, so that's what our distortion comes into play, but it's also going to have those straight elements, and then it's going to have some highlights. So we'll have a couple of these. We'll drag this over. We'll make this a little thinner, thicker, and thinner in parts, right? Kind of highlighting that like so. Let's take this. Let's group it. And now we can distort this all day long. Ooh, Carol has a great idea. Let's do that. That's a great idea. By the way, my whole plan is to make this character distorted, okay? A number of ways we could do this. I can go to Object. Right down here, we have Envelope Distort. We could make with Warp, with Mesh. As I jump in here, there is something called Flag. So I could have rotated this. Actually, I don't even know if I need to. There we go. Here's Flag. So these are our warp options. Makes it look like a little bit wavy, which is actually pretty good right now. Okay. So we're doing this, just bending it horizontally or vertically, right? I could actually add both if I want to. It is bacon, but bacon strip. You are funny. Right, there we go. There's our little bacon. That's kind of all we need to do. I would say that looks pretty good. These are the same Bezier points that I probably would have added if I would have distorted it any other way. Using a different sort of envelope distort. Okay, click OK. And there's our fun little distorted character. And let's play with some of these parts. There we go. Let's give him some arms and some legs. Bend it like bacon. Man, everybody's like, I notice when we get into food, there's like, everybody's spot on with puns and everything, right? That's hilarious. We can give this guy some little hands if we want to. Shall we do that? Again, we'll just kind of draw out a couple little components. In this case, by the way, I made a solid shape. I can always do roughly the same thing with a line. Just crank that up to, say, 60 and round the ends. This gives me the ability to kind of jump in here and bend it like that. Okay, so two different ways to make arms. Drag this over here like so. We want to flip it. Let's flip it. Yeah, some inspiration. Weird Al. I like Weird Al. There we go. Let's get some little legs down here. And get into some more features as well. Zip. Because what I want to do is I want to show you a couple other features that you might not be aware of that have been in Illustrator forever. Okay, so let's just go like that. Pasting, sending to the back, maybe making the thickness. When I do things with lines, I actually have like a lot more flexibility, which is nice. Okay, let's use an ellipse, throw on some shoes. Oops, that's not an ellipse. There it is, ellipse tool, bam, bam. Go faster, Paul, go faster. I wanted to make like a cupcake. There we go. Take these two, make them even thinner. Again, we're dealing with like extremes in sizes to make it look kind of fun. Okay, there we go. We have our two characters. Again, just like expressive characters that are not really people. If the color changes, it can become a... Ooh, yeah, so perfect. Yeah. You guys get the idea. We literally take anything with all these components and make the craziest characters. We can make... what this is actually missing is some highlights, to be honest with you. This bacon actually could just use a little bit of highlight. So we could hit N for pencil. I just have to do this before I do my cupcake. Better hurry. I would add some highlights sort of like right here. Make sure I give it some color when I draw it, huh? There we go. Highlight like so. It's a little lumpy. Great thing is, if I use my direct selection tool, I get all these little nodes. So even though I didn't draw it perfectly, I wasn't going to draw each one of those curves. I was just doing sort of a rough shape and then curving the ends like that. Okay, and that's more along the lines of what I want for a highlight. There we go. Move that up here, like that. Kind of like that. That's all I'm kind of thinking. Cool. Okay, good. I need to get into a cupcake. And mainly what I wanted to do is I wanted to draw out, we have our potato guy, tomato guy, right? And we want to draw out a cupcake. So let's do this really fast. Let's draw a basic shape, and I'm just going to use the pencil, and I'm going to fill it with pink. Let's get our pink going. Let's use a rectangle. I'm going to do the bottom first. And then we're going to do the top. You know what? I think I want this flat. Here's the bottom of the cupcake with a little bit of a rounded corner. And let's draw out the top. All right. And let's do that by hitting pencil. Let's draw this out really fast. In fact, what I can do, let me do this really fast. We're going to do the icing. I'm thinking, oh, I want to keep this base, and maybe you have a nice curved base at the bottom, but you want to redraw this top to be the icing, right? So we could hit N for pencil as we roll over this line, and let's just double click and make sure this is set to smooth. But now I'm going to go in, roll up here, and then I'm just going to kind of create these nice little lines and connect it just like that. So start with a basic shape. As long as it's selected, you could draw over the top of it. Now, if I wanted to create swirls or anything else on this, what I would do is I would actually do this. Check this out. Right over here, and this is what I was talking about. This little feature right here, draw inside. Oh, that sounds fantastic. I want to add some highlights to it. Clicking right there, we will select an even lighter color, and we'll use the blob brush. Typically is kind of what I would end up doing. And then we can paint, oops, let's change the color. Paint right in here. Oh, hold on. Let's just undo this a couple times. Here we are. Here's my shape. Let's get my blob brush. Let's click right here. We will draw inside, clicking right there, selecting my blob brush, changing the color, and then painting inside. So I'm actually just painting inside of this particular shape. What happens when we press this button is it makes a clipping mask. Okay? So if I double click on it, I can see that I'm actually inside of that clip group that I can then add to some more and give it more shadows, right? So paint inside is going to come out really, it's going to be really helpful for you. And then you still have access to all those shapes. As I click inside, we'll hit B for the blob brush. Oops. Shift B, and then add some more. right? So that's all I'm doing. It's not perfect, but I'm also running out of time. Okay, give him some eyes, have some fun, get hungry is all that's happening. There's so much more I can do, but what you create, go ahead and post to Discord. And the whole idea is just to make some fun, expressive little characters out of inanimate objects. Super fun features. All right, good. Terry doesn't, like, again, this stuff has been around for 20 years. I don't know why we just kind of forget it's there. But it's cool if you need to make stripes on something. It's just so awesome. Cool. Yeah, it doesn't have to be tedious. Just draw what you want and then paint inside. Oh, I'm so glad everybody really liked that. But you guys get the idea. There's your shape. Actually, why did I draw that at only 30%? I don't know. Right down here, you'll go ahead and draw inside. All right, everybody, I'll let you go. And thanks so much for watching, and post to Discord later. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see ya.